They call him Seatin, the man of legends.
Hey guys, what is up? It is Seatin here, and on today's video I'm going to be talking about the endgame features that Wildstar has and giving you a sort of big overview of sort of all the stuff there's going to be to do when you reach that level cap. So diving sort of straight into things, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is expeditions. Now these aren't really exclusive to endgame, so what expeditions are? They're basically sort of a mini dungeon that is placed into a socket on your housing plot. So expeditions are scaled dungeons available via your housing plot. Now, expeditions are meant to be sort of 15 minutes of concentrated gameplay, so the story is really on the minimal side. So basically, these expeditions typically contain one boss and a slew of sort of trash mobs that you'll need to progress through in order to get to the boss, and sometimes there'll be some tasks and stuff to do, but relatively it's sort of just trash and then one boss. So these instances will scale between sort of 1 to 5 party members, and it will scale at the start of the expedition. So yeah, just think of expeditions as sort of mini, quick and scalable dungeons. Now the next thing I'm going on to talk about is about Shiphands. So Shiphands are sort of smaller instances that scale from 1 to 5 people. Now these experiences are meant to be quicker than your average dungeon, anywhere from sort of 15 to 45 minutes, and will take you elsewhere for a while. So basically they're going to take you off Nexus and into space. Now you're going to see quite a few of these while leveling, but there are also going to be a couple of them at endgame. So while they're not going to be sort of a good place to get best in slot gear or really pimp your character out, they're going to be a place where once you've got to 60 you can possibly run a couple of times and get some gear, and then progress maybe into dungeons and adventures, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So dungeons are typically what one might think when considering instance content in an MMORPG. So with this, players will be required to progress through several boss encounters, which will be separated by groups of trash mobs, or as game developers like to call them, non-boss encounters. That's right, somebody spent days, possibly weeks, making those mobs that you're calling trash. That is their hard work. That's like their life accomplishment. That could be the most played thing they've ever done so far, and you're just calling it trash. You know, respect your developers. Non-boss encounters, that's what you're going to call them from now on. So basically, yeah, dungeons are the standard thing you'd expect from an MMORPG. So there are going to be 4 veteran dungeons that you can delve in. So these are kind of like heroic or expert, depending on what game you've come from. So at max level, so there's going to be Storm Talon's Lair, Ruins of Calvareth, Skullcano, sounds like quite exotic, and Sanctuary of the Shield Maiden. Now I know what you're thinking, 4 expert dungeons? Is that all we get? So this is where sort of adventures come in. Now what's gonna happen is they've kind of split up dungeons in Wildstar, so to speak. So you have veterans and you have adventures, which are both gonna feature a veteran difficulty. Thank you to CRB Gaffer for confirming that via Reddit inbox. Cheers, buddy. So adventures are basically like dungeons, so they're instance content, but they're going to be less boss focused and more focused on making decisions and a story element. So say for example, right, you're in this town and a load of Draken come and invade, or Makari, or just let's say Draken for this example, and you have to defend off all these Draken. They're attacking the town, and then once they've finished attacking, maybe their leader remains, and you can either take him hostage or kill him, and if you kill him, then what happens is that pisses off a load of other Draken who come and invade you, or maybe if you take him hostage, then maybe you have the option to bribe them to sort of bring the hostage back to their lair, and then you can infiltrate their lair and shut down the Draken Matrix, or I'm making this up, guys, which is set to destroy Nexus. So yeah, you know, there are options with adventures. So basically adventures are like less boss focused dungeons and more decision and story based, if that makes sense. And apparently there is going to be a total of 6 veteran adventures in the game. So just before you guys start shooting me at launch, this could change. It's all subject to change. They could burn down the game. I don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, it's still in beta. Could change, there could be less, there could be more. You never know. But we'll have to wait and see. So, in total, it looks like there's going to be 4 veteran dungeons and 6 veteran adventures, equating to sort of like the equivalent of 10 veteran dungeons, which is very standard and good for an MMORPG launch. So, moving on to sort of the pinnacle of endgame PVE content in Wildstar, which is raiding. So Wildstar will feature one 20-man raid and one 40-man raid at launch. Now these raids are completely separate. It's not going to be like in WoW when you have like I know Siege of Orgrimmar and you can do it on like 10, 25 players. There's going to be one 20-man raid, totally different raid, one 40-man raid, totally different raid. So at this point in time, they do not plan to have any separate raiding difficulties such as normal and heroic settings. Carbine plans on having the raids one setting, which will be hard. Very hard, apparently, from what we've heard from some of the developers. But then again, that has yet to be seen. You know, are they going to underestimate or overestimate the skill base of the player base? So that's going to be very interesting to actually find out. Now, one thing that Carbine want to do with raiding is add in something called diversity. This means that bosses will change from week to week, both in terms of mechanics and in terms of which bosses are even in the dungeon. Raids will also have some form of leaderboard associated with them, and top runs will be recorded on a week-by-week basis. Now, something that I found extremely interesting is just the mechanics changing every week. That'd be so weird. I mean, it's hard enough to teach people like a really hard fight that has the same mechanics, and then if they're going to change every week, that's going to be exceptionally fun. So I'm very interested about that. Maybe there's going to be one week where the final boss is like totally unkillable hard, crazy, but another week where it's going to be a complete pushover. So I'm just very curious about how that's going to work out. And also it's going to be exceptionally fun for our guide writers out there. There'll be like 50 different versions of every boss guide depending on what week you get. So yeah, that's going to be exceptionally fun having different bosses and different mechanics. So I'm really curious how that's going to turn out sort of tuning wise as well. But yes, that has yet to be seen. There's not too much we can delve into there. They are going to be hard apparently, and the best gear in the game will be earned from 40-man raiding. So if you want to be up there with the best, the greats, have all the best gear, be dealing all the best damage, you're going to have to jump into 40-man raiding, which personally I am really looking forward to. I just want this big sense of like 40 people coming together, one cause, kill bosses, have a good night, have a good laugh, few drinks, bit of banter, and that is what I'm really looking forward to about 40-man raiding. For the guild leaders, raid leaders out there, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, but you know, I'm just one of these guys who, in terms of raid leading in Wildstar, I'm going to sit back, crack open a beer, and just enjoy a good time with my buddies. We'll probably rage like an hour into the raid, but you know, it's still going to be good fun. Now, the final thing that CRB Gaffer wanted me to mention is about sort of the continuing gameplay in the open world. So there are also outside areas that are exclusively level 50 as well. So you've got to think of them as like veteran versions of outdoor zones. So these are zones specifically set aside for endgame gameplay, and apparently a lot of them are going to revolve around doing sort of large party and group quests. So in order to take some of these zones on, you're actually going to have to like group up with a few buddies or a few randoms in the channel to actually manage to take on and complete these quests, which I find very interesting and I'm looking forward to. Now, aside from this, Carbine has stated that the design for solo PvE at max level will revolve largely around quest content and solo dungeons associated with solving the mysteries of Nexus, and they promise frequent small story content updates. Now, these solo dungeons unfortunately do not have any sort of unique name at the moment, so I'm very curious whether or not they're actually going to be in the game for launch, or whether or not they're going to come as sort of an additional patch or download shortly after the release of Wildstar, or maybe a few months after the game releases. So, I mean, I have very limited information on solo dungeons and content. It basically looks like, you know, you're going to do some quests, and then they're going to lead on to some solo dungeons, and then you're sort of going to progress solo via that form. Now, I doubt this will drop any sort of best in slot gear, but it's going to be fun, and hey, what do we play games for? Fun. If you're not playing games for fun, then I don't know why you're playing games, buddy. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the video. I have not covered anything PvP-wise, like arenas, battlegrounds, war plots. This video was sort of strictly to cover the PvE stuff, so I'm probably going to do a separate video. If people like this one, you know, leave a comment and let me know, and I will do another video covering all the PvP features in Wildstar at Endgame, and also via leveling, because they kind of all transition into one PvP-wise, whereas PvE, it's mostly kind of Endgame, you know, as it always is. So thank you once again for watching this video, and thank you to CRB Gaffer, who is Jeremy Gaffner, who's one of the executive producers on Wildstar. If I've got that right, I apologize if I got your title wrong, who sort of I sent all these notes over to, and he was like, yeah, you've done a pretty good job, you know, you can turn this into a video, but don't forget about war plots or solo questing, or we're going to hunt you down and find you and tell you to amend that video. Once again, guys, thank you for watching. My name is Seatin. If you enjoy my video, subscribe to my channel. There are more videos on my channel. They're mostly Rift at the moment because I don't have a press pass for Wildstar, and I'm probably not going to get one for ages because I'm not really big press or anything. So, yeah, I mean, if you enjoy my videos, I'm going to do some more Wildstar theory stuff if you guys like this, and let me know. You can send me an email, you can tweet me, you can Facebook me, Facebox? I've found the new social media. No, you could Facebook me. I don't Facebook, really. Or you could send me a written letter, carrier pigeon, smoke signals, birthday card, you know, however you want to get the message across. Whatever works best for you. You could Bebo me. No, I don't have Bebo anymore. I miss Bebo. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it.